Brentford against Arsenal tonight in the Carabao Cup is live on talkSPORT. Here's the thing. Ivan Toney was the topic of conversation when the media met Thomas Frank ahead of this one. Toney will be available to return to action in January, but he's expected to leave Brentford during the winter transfer window. Arsenal, curiously, amongst those who are very interested, it's been reported, in signing him.
This is another person that Simon likes blowing smoke as well, isn't it?
Who's that?
Howard Webb, Ivan Toney.
All right. Oh, the list is endless. This is maybe Thomas Frank falls into that category as well. Thomas was talking about Toney in the build-up to this one and about what might happen with the player come the winter transfer deadline.
For me, as a coach, I don't want to sell him. You know, of course, I want my best players. So, of course, I say to Phil and Matt, don't sell him. The same I said with David. Ivan is a world-class player, so why should we sell a world-class player? I would rather want him to play here for the rest of his contract. But that's not up to me to decide.
So that was Thomas on Ivan. Is Ivan Toney, Danny, a title-winning striker?
I think that would be going a little bit strong. I think he's a super player.
Does he turn contenders into champions?
No, not necessarily. Does he improve some of the teams he's been linked with? Yes, but to make them title contenders,
could he score 25, 30 goals playing for Arsenal?
Possibly, but I wouldn't be sure. I wouldn't put money on it. No.
So why are they all after him? I mean, Chelsea considering signing a striker in January. I'm not surprised at that. Tottenham monitoring the situation. Arsenal in the mix as well. He's going to leave, is he not? In spite of what Thomas said, and Thomas is a good man and was quite diplomatic there. But does he come back to leave?
I think he'll go. I think there's a shortage of top strikers out there. There's clubs who really need strikers. He last season had the season of his life and got 20 goals, which is no mean feat, by the way. Granted, quite a few penalties in there, but that doesn't matter. He's still got to put them away as well.
What's he not got then that doesn't make him a title-winning striker?
Well, the reason I say that because there's very few players in the world when you're trying to compete with Man City who I'm thinking could come to another team and make them title contenders. You're talking about Mbappe. You're talking a very few. So it's not a slant on him. I think he lacks a little bit of dynamism and explosive power, which really scares people.
Are Arsenal title contenders as we speak now?
Yeah.
So what are you on about then? So if Toney comes in and enhances them, he enhances their ability to be better title contenders,
well,
doesn't
actually,
he?
I say
in isolation, if he's the only reason they're going to win the title, no. But as a component part, and a value-added part of an opportunity to control their own destiny, Arsenal didn't lose the title.
Depends how you determine
Arsenal didn't lose the
contender.
title, did they? Because of Manchester City. They lost the title because they imploded themselves.
Yeah.
They handed it back to Man City, and Man City did what they did.
Defensively, they imploded.
They did what they did.
And it's thought that Toney is the missing piece of the jigsaw for Arsenal. If Arsenal get him, the jigsaw's complete and they can go on and pip City. No?
No, I don't think so.
I think they run him closer.
Yeah,
I think they'll run him closer than the current Arsenal might. If Arsenal are contenders, that's a possibility that Danny's right in that instance.
One of the problems Arsenal have got when you look at the breakdown of the team in terms of Toney fitting in is that he is really good in the air and he likes Brentford put a lot of crosses in the box.
Yeah, they haven't got
and Arsenal do put them more pullback.
They've got Saka, haven't they?
Yeah, but he's a left footer playing on the right, and Martinelli's a right footer playing on the left. So they like to go in and play little triangles. And when they do go round the back, they do pull back. And I'm not saying he wouldn't score a load of goals for him because he is a super talent. But you have to sometimes look at a player and why he got all the goals he did in the team he did. Now he doesn't just score headers. That's a bit. I'm not saying that. But Brentford play to his strengths, and they don't mind mixing the game up. Arsenal are a footballing team, bar nothing. They play really good intricate football and pretty patterns. And Toney's not played in a team that does that. So there's no guarantee he's going to walk in.
Where do you like him for them?
I think the obvious one at the moment is Chelsea crying out for a striker. A Costa, a Drogba. And if you look at Toney's attributes, he's more like a Costa. He's got that physical bit. He'll have it with anyone. He's got good feet. You know, he can chop the ball. He scores both feet. He's got a bit about him. So actually, for me, it screams Chelsea.
There's Ben in Birmingham. Toney needs to come to the Villa. He'd thrive under Emery. Simon, here's one for you. I seriously mean this. In view of why Toney has been missing, should his return be celebrated?
No. Who's going to celebrate it? Of course, the Brent fans are going to be grateful to see him back. He's going to celebrate his return, yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
irrelevant point.
I mean, he's
isn't it?
going. He's going, and the reasons why there's such interest is because very rarely do you see a top-class centre forward come available in the January transfer window. So there's a rarity to that little beast. Yeah. It depends if the marketplace is there for the price that Brentford may well want. What the player will want is huge salaries.
What is he, 28, sorry?
27, I think.
Does he owe Brentford a lot?
Of course he does.
Does he owe football a lot? Does he owe the Premier League
I don't know if he owes football
a lot?
No, he owes Brentford something. They're the people that gave him an opportunity, and he's repaid them by his performances.
Yeah, exactly.
68 goals in 111 games or whatever he's done, 30 in the Championship and 32 in 2 Premier League seasons. Is a good return on investment.
And he'll also be repaying them when they get the fee through.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the flip side of the argument. I'm pretty sure that Brentford would rather have him in their side because they get a 60, 70 million pound transfer. If they don't achieve in the Premier League, they can lose that quite easily by not being successful in the Premier League. Yeah, the reward for Brentford is the difficult one for Matthew is that he's continuing to pay Ivan Toney. His reward will be the player will just stick in a transfer request or engineer a move in January. And the only reason he won't go in January is if the market doesn't bear the price that Brentford reasonably wants. If the market thinks that it can nick Toney for sub 60 million quid, then they'll sell him in the summer.
Yeah.
But
then
be
he'll
under
only
no
have a year
illusion.
left.
If you've changed your agents and you've got Manasseh, who's a good agent, and Jonathan Burnett, not so much, but working in that respect to be able to achieve an outcome.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, yep. In my experience.
In your experience.
And my opinion based upon my experience.
In your opinion.
But the bottom line is he's changed agents to have a move. There's an expectation of a move. He's going to move. It'd be interesting to see. I quite like him for Tottenham. I think he'd be a signing for Tottenham.
Yeah, that'd work.
It begs the question about what would happen with Richarlison in that respect.
And is everything else, is the slate wiped clean? Everything else that went on, is that forgotten about?
Yeah, of course it is. Because he served his punishment.
Right.
So the bottom line is he committed an act of self-harm. He broke rules. He's been consequential. All the carping and whining about what he's entitled to, not for me, but they're going on podcasts and giving it, not for me, and I don't think for members of his family either. I don't think that was particularly impressive for them either. But he did what he did. Now he's keeping his head down. He's back in training. He gets back in January, and he'll go because he's a proper player.
Okay.
He's a really good player. And again, I don't think football should be sitting there going, actually, we should constantly now flagellate him forever because of what he did.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.